So the U.S. president says he is prepared to use military force against Iran if it doesn't agree to negotiate a deal on its nuclear program.
Iran says negotiations cannot take place under threat after U.S. President Donald Trump warned Tehran to make a deal or face a military attack.
US President Donald Trump has renewed his threats against Iran, demanding they come to the table and negotiate a nuclear deal or face a potential attack. Donald Trump posted online saying, "Time is running out. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't."
Today we're breaking down a major global story, something that's grabbing headlines not just in the United States, but around the world. It could affect economies, politics, energy prices, and even U.S. national security. I'm talking about the rapidly escalating tensions between the United States and Iran, and what President Donald Trump is warning could be a major military action against Iran. This isn't just a headline, it's a situation with real consequences that we all need to understand clearly. Let's start with the big picture. In recent days, President Trump has taken a very firm posture toward Iran. He's warned Tehran that time is running out to reach a diplomatic deal with the United States on Iran's nuclear program and other issues. In fact, Trump has said that a massive armada of U.S. warships, led by the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, is now headed toward Iranian waters. He has used very strong language, saying this fleet is ready, and I quote, "ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary." Now, that's not a casual comment. When a U.S. president talks this way about military action, it means the situation could change very quickly. To understand why this is happening, we have to look at the background. Tens of thousands of people have taken to the streets over issues like high living costs and government policies, and the protests were met with a harsh crackdown by Iranian security forces. At the same time, Iran's nuclear program has been a long-running source of tension. The US and other world powers once had a nuclear deal with Tehran aimed at limiting nuclear weapons development. But that deal fell apart years ago, and now the US is pushing hard for a new agreement that would keep Iran from ever developing a weapon. President Trump's message is basically this: if Iran quickly agrees to a deal that eliminates any path to a nuclear weapon, then military action can be avoided. But if they refuse, the US is prepared to move forward with force, and that force could be far worse than anything we've seen before. So what exactly does that mean? Well, military strategists explain that the US could choose from a range of options, from precision strikes on leadership targets to larger, broader military operations. Right now, the president hasn't confirmed a final decision, but by deploying a large naval presence and issuing strong warnings, the chances of some form of military engagement are increasing. Now let's talk about Iran's response, because this is not one-sided. Iran's government has fired back with equally strong language. The country's top diplomats say that if the US attacks, Iran will respond immediately and forcefully, treating any strike as an act of war. One Iranian official even said their troops are ready with their fingers on the trigger. Iran has also insisted that it is still open to negotiation, but only under terms that it describes as fair, mutual, and free of threats or coercion. They want guarantees that their peaceful nuclear program can continue and that their sovereign rights will be respected. This clash of statements, the US threatening military action and Iran warning of retaliation, raises a serious risk: miscalculation. In international relations, when two strong militaries face off with aggressive rhetoric, even a small incident or misunderstanding can spiral into a larger conflict. That's why world leaders and diplomats from other countries, you might be wondering, how could this affect everyday people in the US? Here are a few key areas. Oil and gas prices. If tensions worsen, global energy markets can become unpredictable. Iran sits near major oil shipping routes, and any conflict could disrupt supplies, pushing prices higher. Stock markets. Geopolitical risk often makes investors nervous. If war seems likely, markets can pull back, affecting retirement accounts and investment portfolios. Analysts watch these events closely for signs of volatility. Military service members and families. A real military campaign could involve U.S. troops, which affects service members and their families directly. Diplomacy and alliances. This situation will test U.S. relationships with allies. Some countries might support U.S. actions, while others might urge restraint, shaping future global diplomacy. Now let's also be clear. As of right now, a full-blown war has not officially started. But the warnings and military movements are serious enough that governments and analysts worldwide are paying attention. What is clear is that this moment could be a turning point in U.S.-Iran relations, with far-reaching consequences if not handled with care, diplomacy, and strategic judgment. So, what should we take away from all of this? This story is still developing, and you should follow trustworthy news sources for updates. Second, understand that international diplomacy often involves both pressure and negotiation. Leaders may use strong rhetoric to influence decision-making at the negotiating table. And third, recognize that every global event has ripple effects, even here at home. That wraps up our deep dive on the latest tensions between the United States and Iran and President Trump's warnings about possible military action.